There's a fat boy on the news who looks just like you, because I didn't identify myself as Kevin Smith. So from the Smarchives, man, I present you a piece of old piece of Smodco/View Askew history. Me and Brian Johnson protesting my own movie, Dogma, at the Sony Multiplex in Eatontown, not too far from where I was living at the time. Check it out.
The new movie Dogma opens tonight, and it's already generating a huge amount of controversy, and so is its creator, Kevin Smith, who lives right here in New Jersey.
News 12 New Jersey's Caroline Shively reports on one protest against the movie in Eatontown tonight.
Hail Mary, full of grace.
Organizers in Eatontown had hoped for hundreds to join them in the protest against the movie Dogma. Instead, they got less than 24, but they were joined by this man. He wouldn't admit it, but he looked and sounded suspiciously like Dogma's writer, director, co-star, and New Jersey resident, Kevin Smith.
I don't think it stands for anything positive.
What does it stand for?
I don't know, but I've been told not good.
The movie follows two fallen angels who try to get back into heaven and the people who are fighting to keep them out.
I was the 13th apostle.
You knew Christ.
No, brother owes me $12.
But lines like that have many groups angry.
We're here with a small number, but we're the church militant. We should have more Catholics here. If this was a direct attack against Muslims or the Holocaust or the Jewish people, you would see them outraged.
The protesters didn't seem to slow down the number of people pouring into the theater to see the film.
It just makes me want to see it more, actually, if there's controversy about it.
I think they might be taking it too seriously. I mean, it's just a film. It's a comedy, so you really shouldn't take it too seriously.
The battle between the protesters and filmmakers is sure to continue for as long as the film runs. But in the end, this is a fight that might be won or lost at the box office. In Eatontown, Caroline Shively, News 12, New Jersey.
Smith's production company, View Askew, actually posts hate mail it receives on its website.
There it is, man. Me lying to the media, flat out lying. They're like, are you Kevin Smith? I was like, I've never met Kevin Smith. I denied Kevin Smith 3 times, and somewhere a cock crowed. If you know your Bible, that's very funny. So check it out. You just did, so don't check it out again. Or go back and watch it twice, because twice is just as nice. That was me protesting Dogma. Little funny chapter in my own personal history that I'm kind of happy to share. It's fun. You talk about things in Q&A all the time. People go like, is that true? Is that true? It's really nice every once in a while to be like, yeah, it's true. I told you there was a commercial. Little things like that mean something.
There you go.
Nice.
Jeez, that's crazy. It's funny to hear Silent Bob talk so much, because he's really not Silent Bob outside of Silent
that character.
Bob.
Yeah.
But that's crazy that he went to go undercover to see what the hoopla was about, protesting his own movie. But I probably would have did the same thing just to hear what people had to say. What they say, bad any publicity is good publicity, even if it's bad.
Like the guy said, it just can make people want to go see it more.
Yeah, he's like, I want to see it more just because it's all this controversy.
Yeah.
And I mean, I grew up in a predominantly religious family. We went to church, and I was baptized and got my first communion and stuff, and I mean, you can't really say or curse the Lord's name in vain, but I didn't find anything really bad about the movie. I felt like it was more so of hey, these characters are from something that you should be familiar with. It's about the Bible, and let's talk about it just like a regular day-to-day life. How he said Jesus was born from he was born not being conceived, but to think that a married couple would live the rest of their life without having sex in the same bed is just gullible. They did quote unquote have,
of course they had sex, and Jesus had brothers and sisters.
Yeah, so I always found that interesting, and anytime people talk about the Bible or religion, I want to see it from both sides, not just predominantly the religious side. I want to see it from both sides, from any side, because I'm just curious like that. And I found that this movie did that for me. It showed me even though it was a movie, but it was still like, hey, this could be a scenario, this could have happened, or it could have been part of, we don't know. Yeah, who knows? But yeah, that's what I took from that interview.
Yeah, it's weird that there was such a negative connotations around it, because it's really, I think, a more positive the outcome is a positive one. So it's like, what is the real issue, other than people being too touchy, I think. But obviously, Kevin Smith comes from a Catholic background, so it's a personal, I feel like it's a personal story for him.
Yeah, it's a personal testament, or like my point of view.
Yeah, or just writing, so he's obviously familiar with that mythology, and he's taking like these kind of modern characters and kind of throwing them in or what our society was in 1999.
Yeah, and I know you don't like this movie, but I'm just still going to quickly reference it. They do a really good job of doing that in the Romeo and Juliet movie. I thought it was pretty cool, but I just thought it was taking an old story or an old concept or an old ideas and modernizing it and making it more relatable for the newer generation. Even
revamping it.
Yeah, exactly. Even if it's just a story from a story, a side story about these characters from this certain story. I liked it. I thought it was cool. And yeah, religion is a touchy subject, but it also it makes you think. If we didn't have these characters like this, would you be able to come up with a cool story like that? It's essentially it's from the Bible, but it's all testaments and stories and interpretations and basically scriptures. So yeah, I still today I think it's cool. Yeah, I just like Constantine, like how you said, it's they take different stories from the Bible and different characters. I like it. I think it's. How can I say? I don't see any offensiveness to it, especially when it's done in a way where it's kind of tasteful. It shows you different points. It's not just, hey, this guy did this and he's an asshole for this. No, it's like it shows substance.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I stand on that.
Nice. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to do Swan Facts?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Swan Facts.
All right, so we were actually talking about this earlier, and I didn't want to ruin it for Vic, but the hoods around the necks of the three angels do, in fact, represent their halos.
I knew it.
Kevin Smith stated Linda Florentino was actually very difficult to work with on set.
Really?
Sometimes coming in and not even acknowledging him.
Huh.
And that's
Weird.
where, like I told you, he had after filming was all said and done, he had wished he gave the main part to Janine Garofalo.
Yeah. Huh.
The character Loki was actually written for Jason Lee, but scheduling issues forced him to take the Azrael part.
Yeah.
Smith actually wanted Robert Rodriguez to direct, but after Robert read the script, he loved it, but thought it was too personal and thought it would only be right for Kevin to direct it himself. In the film, Loki is the angel of death, and Azrael is the demon who wants to create anarchy. But within traditional mythology, these roles are actually reversed.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting. The film was originally intended for a '98 release for Miramax, but due to the controversy, the rights were passed on to Lionsgate. The working title for this was Bear Claw. And I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but through the time of filming for this, Jason Mewes was actually deep into a heroin problem, which you can kind of tell in some of his scenes that he's strung out at times, or kind of not himself. And I guess the studio actually fought with Kevin and wanted Seth Green to play Jay.
Oh, really?
For the longest time, and Kevin fought so hard and basically backed up his best friend, saying, no, Jason Mewes, like, if you give him a chance, he'll bring his A game. And he would pull him off to the side, like, hey, you need to show up on set on time and bring the best performance that you got, or these guys are gonna fire you. They wouldn't pay for his hotel, they wouldn't pay for his flight out to where they were shooting. It was insane. They definitely gave that guy a hard time until the studio executives were on set and they saw what they were shooting and they saw Jay in action. They then gave him the approval and were like, oh, we see why you did the decision you did.
I'm having deja vu. I feel like I heard this before. Or read it somewhere.
Maybe you do.
Well, I know Kevin Smith talks about it a lot.
Yeah.
About, I don't know if Jay still does, but I know for a long time, Jay used to live with him to basically keep him on the straight and narrow.
Yeah.
And he, I think Jay actually stole his credit card before,
and
went and bought drugs and stuff. So he's had a rough go of it, but he's been sober now for several years.
Yeah, I think
he's
happily 6
or
7 years, something like that.
Happily married, has a little girl who he named Logan after Wolverine, which is awesome.
That's cool.
But yeah, congratulations to that dude with keeping up his sobriety and living a happy life. I know Kevin, after having the heart attack scare recently, he's now a vegetarian, I believe, and he's inspired Jason Mewes to do the same thing and cut out all the bad food. So they're both kind of in it together, and I think that's a beautiful thing, when friends can inspire each other to be better people.
I remember hearing a story on his on Kevin Smith's podcast about how they were all going to go out, and then he's like, this 17-year-old kid came into my car, with blonde hair. And he's like, and it turns out, it's my best friend for 20 years or whatever. But I mean, that's crazy how
he looks good now, dude. Yeah,
I ran into him last year at Comic-Con.
Really?
Yeah.
I just recently saw a side-by-side picture of him, and he's like pumping gas at the gas station. And a few years ago, he looks like pretty big. He was wearing the big ass fucking
shorts,
the hockey jerseys, and the Jenko jeans shorts. Mm-hmm. And then you see him now; he's like in fitted shirts and like a sweater,
super
with
tiny.
Yeah, he looks completely different, dude. That's crazy. That's transformation, but like you said, it's a near-death experience, so it will change your life.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I think that wraps up this episode.
Yeah.
Snoogans.
You can actually buy the Blu-ray of this signed at Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash. That's their comic book shop in New Jersey. That's the one that they own. Yeah. You can actually go there if you're ever in New Jersey. That's one of my things I want to do someday.
Jersey.
But yeah, you can order from their online store, and you can get a signed Blu-ray, or you can even get I think Jay and Silent Bob Monopoly, something like that. You can get that signed too. They have a whole bunch of stuff. They sell his jerseys and everything there.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Blunt Man and Chronic.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
For those of you listening on iTunes, you can also listen to us on
Spotify,
iHeartRadio,
Spreaker,
Stitcher,
Stitcher Radio,
YouTube,
Google Play,
SoundCloud,
iTunes. Did you already say iTunes?
Yeah, iTunes. And Sods.
Basically, any major platform right now that you can stream podcasts, we should be on there.
Yes.
So sorry to any third-party platforms that we left out. But look us up. subscribe to us, give us the 5 stars, maybe a positive review if you're feeling extra friendly.
Yes.
You can reach out to us on Instagram at @dropthemic_podcast. Hit us up and slide up in those DMs if you feel like getting personal. Not too personal, huh?